Hey everyone, welcome back to the Adventures of Shane and Laura. Today we have another gear review for you. Specifically, I'm going to review the REI Co-op 650 down men's jacket. Okay, so let's start off with the shell. The shell is made from a DWR treated nylon. DWR stands for durable water repellent. And I like the kind of satin finish. There are other lightweight down jackets that you end up with almost like a spacesuit finish. I think there's a material that's, I think it's Pertex maybe, and it's just extremely lightweight or something, but they use it all the time and it looks insane. Like you can't really wear that around town. And I have one that's like that. It's great for when I know that it's going to be extremely cold at night on some of my backpacking trips. Sometimes in Montana you get high up in elevation, and even in the middle of summer it can get pretty darn cold. But when I'm going to be somewhere where I'm like, I don't know if it's going to be that cold, or if I'm going to be around town, people are going to see me, then I prefer not to resort to those extremes of having that kind of spacesuit looking jacket. So that's one nice thing about this kind of satin finish on the shell. Now, REI doesn't say what the weight of the nylon for the shell is. They measure that in denier. That's basically a thickness of the nylon. And I guess what I would say is, to me, it looks like it's relatively reasonable, probably more than 10D, I'm thinking. Still lightweight, but certainly a little more durable than the most extremely lightweight ones that you can kind of see through the fabric on. The fill is a 650 down fill, as you can imagine from the name, and that is a kind of an interesting range for your fill weight. It's a pretty low fill power. Fill power basically is when you take a gram of the fill, how much does it expand and how many milliliters does that take up? This has a 650. A really high-end one will have like 800 fill, or I think some even may have 1,000 fill power. Down, this one's 650. It's kind of your entry-level fill, so for an inexpensive down jacket, it works out well, but it's certainly not going to set any records. The advantage of down is that it packs down a lot smaller. Of course, a 650 won't pack down the way that an 800 will, but it still packs down better than a synthetic will. The disadvantage is that a synthetic is going to perform better when it gets wet than a down jacket will. Very frequently, a down jacket will the down will clump up. It's very difficult to dry it out. Of course, they use that DWR treatment to try to prevent water from getting into the fill, but you're going to want a shell to go over this anyway, and there are a couple more reasons. I'll touch on those a little bit later. REI says that the 650 weighs in at 10.5 ounces, and that may be true for the medium. Mine is a large, and it comes in at about 12.1 ounces. You can compare that to the measly 8.3 ounces that you'll get with a Mountain Hardwear Ghost Whisperer, or with the Patagonia down sweater, you actually weigh a little more at 13.1 ounces. The jacket packs down into its own left pocket. That pocket comes inside out, and you can stuff the whole jacket into there. So let's talk about the fit. I am about 5'10", and I weigh about 195. I haven't weighed myself lately, but I think that's about where I'm at right now. And this is a large, and this is how it fits me. I'll take a step back here so you can kind of get a little bit better look. So you can see it's maybe a little bit boxy. It's got a little bit of room for layers underneath, which is going to be more useful for someone who's going to wear it as an outer layer. I want to use it as a mid layer, and so I'm going to not be able to make quite as much use of that extra room on the inside. I would compare it a little bit to the rain jacket that I reviewed, and I'll put that review, I'll link to it right here. That was the Marmot Precip rain jacket, where the fit's just a little bit boxier. You're not going to win any awards for style or anything with this jacket, but it certainly gets the job done technically. There's not a ton of room for my neck, not a ton of room around the neck once the down fills up. Of course, when I started to pack that in, I'm packing that down squishing that down. So you have to give it a little bit of time to puff back up. But when it does, it mostly fills all the gaps. There's a little bit of space in the cuff. They give you a little bit of elastic, but it's kind of a weak excuse. That's not a problem for me because I'm going to be wearing this as a mid layer. So generally speaking, I'm going to have an outer shell over this. And that just helps me to layer down. In case it doesn't get quite as cold, I can just wear that shell without this. So I'm going to have that shell on me anyway, so I might as well have something that I can use as an insulation layer. That's how this is going to work for me. The zipper works really well. It's nice and sturdy and large. It has a zipper garage at the top. Switchback Travel gave the 650 its Best Cheap Down Jacket Award. So who is this jacket going to be great for? It's going to be great for people who are going to use it like me as a mid layer. You're not trying to use it as your outer layer. You're not trying to put a bunch of layers underneath it. That lack of elastic band or draw cord at the bottom and then the loose fitting elastic at the cuffs makes this one difficult. If the wind picks up or something, it's just going to kind of, blow right up under here and in here, and you're going to be competing with that a little bit. Of course, the more layers you put underneath that, you kind of fill that void a little bit, but it's just not ideal. This is going to be great for someone who, has a budget that they want to stay on, someone who has other items that they want to purchase before spending, $200 on an extremely nice, extremely lightweight down jacket. So who will want to look elsewhere? That's going to be anyone who's counting grams instead of ounces, or, people who just want to absolutely, get the absolute most out of their pack. They just can't afford, anything else because they're just going extremely long distances. People who are extreme ultralight backpackers, they're not going to want it. Or people who, want something that they're going to have as their outermost layer. You're going to want to go for something that's maybe a little bit heavier shell than this. Probably going to want something that's synthetic if you're not going to have a shell that goes outside of this. And you're probably going to want something that's got that elastic or draw cord at the hem and at the cuff. So if you got some value out of this video, if it's going to help you decide that you do want to buy this jacket, or if you don't want to buy this jacket, then please give us that thumbs up. If you do want to buy the jacket, I will leave a link below. And again, we appreciate if you purchase through that link because that gives us just a little bit for our trouble in reviewing the jacket. As always, if you want to see more videos like this, more gear reviews, or if you want to see our adventures around Montana or to the national parks and different places, click that subscribe button and you'll get our video. We usually release one every week. We really work hard on them and we really hope you enjoy them. We take you to all sorts of places that you might not otherwise go. So thank you for watching and we'll catch you next time.